I'm actually probably going to be hating myself after I add all this up and calculate this up to find out how much it actually is. Alright everybody, what is going on? As always, thanks for stopping by to check out today's video. We are back out on the streets for another ride on the Harley Sportster, and my gas light warning light is on because, well, it's a Sportster and it's always running out of gas. But anyways, we are taking a little cruise today. We are out around Bryn Mawr, outside of Philly. We're going to head out towards Newtown Square, out towards Westchester, see where we end up from there, if anybody's familiar with any of those areas out here in the southeastern PA area. But on the way out there, we're going to talk about a little bit of a funny one. This could potentially end up being somewhat funny or kind of devastating once you realize the reality of it as well. Today we're talking about money, finances, and cost of ownership of a motorcycle, specifically my bike, a 2019 Harley Sportster Iron 1200. So obviously, as motorcyclists, we all know pretty much no matter what you ride, it's a pretty expensive hobby. Everything from purchasing the bike, maintaining the bike, modifying the bike, servicing, specifically modifications in the bike itself are where a lot of that cost is coming from. Whether you buy a bike new or used, or whatever it is, even if you got a really good deal on a used one, I mean, it's just an expensive hobby. There's no other way to put it. Like I said, all the different stuff, modifications, maintenance, upkeep, different things like that. So I want to talk specifically about the cost of ownership of my 2019 Harley-Davidson Sportster Iron 1200. I did get this brand new, but first off, if anybody is willing and daring enough to put what they think that they've spent on their motorcycle down in the comments, go ahead and give it a shot. And I don't want any other significant others popping in here getting you guys in trouble or anything like that, but if anybody's willing to do it, drop it down there and let me know what you think of the cost of ownership of your bike has been so far through the life of having it. I know most people probably don't want to say or admit, but if you're a brave soul, go ahead and drop it down there. Or if you have any tips and tricks on, you know, how to reduce costs or keep the costs down of your bike or maintenance and all that, drop those down there too. Those are always helpful for me and other people to see too. But anyways, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the bike itself, modifications I've done, and then some of the maintenance and service. We're going to add it all up, tally it up at the end to see what it's been for the past 3 years. So make sure you stick around for that to check out what that final number ends up being. Now, obviously, being a Sportster, these are clearly not the most expensive bikes to own. So, I mean, obviously, bigger, newer bikes, stuff like that, are definitely going to be more expensive, have a higher cost of ownership. Even the parts and modifications are more expensive. Service and stuff is usually more expensive for those too. But anyways, this is just specifically to my bike, so let's kick it off and get started. I did buy this brand new. So brand new, this bike was $10,000. So I know the price of these has gone up in the past couple years, but when I got this in 2019, the price was exactly $10,000. So next, starting to move into some of those initial modifications I did. Some of the first things I did was Memphis Shades Cafe fairing and bracket, $350. We threw a nice Saddleman step-up seat on there that I'm currently sitting on. That was $450. We've got a Viking swing arm bag. That was $100. We did some upgrades on the lights, Rogue Rider Industry LEDs, those coming in at about $150 for the front and rear and the dark smoke lenses. Next, we've got a Bun King crash bar down there. That's coming in at $300. We've got an LED front headlight. That's coming in at $50. That one was actually a pretty good deal on Amazon. That's one of those good tips and tricks. Try to find some ways to save money. We've got a sissy bar on the back. That was kind of a good deal too from Amazon. That was one of the cheaper ones that I found. that was $100. So another one that was quite the pretty penny to do on your bike, this is pretty similar to most Sportsters I'm assuming, was the tuner and air intake. So Vance & Hines FP3 tuner, Arlen Ness big air sucker right here, you can take a look at that down there. Both of those combined $550. Ooh, ouch, this is really starting to add up, guys. So separately, the Vance & Hines tuner was $400, and the Arlen Ness air cleaner by itself was $150, total of $550 there. Oh boy, yeah, like I said, this is starting to add up the more that I think about it. I'm probably going to regret actually tallying all this up, by the way. And now this actually also brings to light why I don't ever actually have any money, because I'm sitting on top of it, all of it right now. Anyways, another one. Progressive 412 shocks in the back, the rear shocks, those were $400. Now I will say, with adding all of this up and going through all these upgrades and modifications, the bike is worth it, the upgrades are all worth it. I have zero regrets on any of these modifications or the bike itself, but I mean, yeah, it's a lot of money. Alrighty, so that pretty much wraps up the modifications portion of this, the bike, the modifications. Now we're going to get into a little bit of the maintenances and services that also can be very expensive. So this is all stuff that I've done to it for the past 3 years. Remember, like I said, I got this in 2019, so should be able to remember all of this correctly. First thing was, I did do the 1,000 mile service the year I got it at the dealer. So I mean, you know, everybody knows that service. They go through fluids, tighten stuff up, make adjustments, blah blah blah, whatever. Is it worth it? I don't know. It was $350. I wanted to make sure I had that done, you know, the first 1K service at the dealer. They could check everything out as a new bike, you know, whatever. Fluids, tighten stuff up, make sure everything's good to go, whatever. So from there, then I had a 5,000 mile service that I actually took to my local shop. So I had them basically just do, you know, fluids, oil, primary, all that stuff, check everything, tighten stuff up, check everything internally, make sure everything was good to go. It was. That was only $100, so not bad. So then another one after that, I did a 10K service where we did the same thing, looking at fluids, you know, getting it all tip-top shape for the rest of the season. Fluids, oils, primary, transmission, all that stuff, tighten everything up, air pressures, check the belt, all that stuff. Same shop and everything, that was just another $100. So then this year started to have some other things go along with it, with some of those services. So like you recently saw, I had the rear tire go. Well, it didn't go, but it was starting to bald. It needed to be replaced. I had to have rear brakes done at the same time. So that was all done recently. That ended up being a little bit more of an expensive service, obviously. Tire, a little more expensive, a little more detailed. So that ended up being a $400 service. And I also recently had my battery die. Recently bought a new battery. I did splurge on the battery a little bit. It's a little bit fancier than the traditional batteries, like the stock batteries that go in there. Lithium-ion battery. Really happy with it so far. That was $250. So if my memory serves me correct, that is all of the costs so far with the bike itself, the modifications, the services, and the maintenances, and the upkeeps that I have done to it so far. Now, I'm not including gas in that. I mean, that's various. I don't know. I don't feel like calculating that. I mean, I ride from March to, you know, what, December, consistently, a couple hundred miles a weekend, fill it up every 100 miles. I don't know, $10 a tank or something. I don't know. If somebody wants to do the math out there, go ahead. So gas would obviously be included in that factor somewhere. I mean, that's going to add a little bit. I don't know, $500-600, whatever. So after adding all of that up there, the cost of the bike, the modifications, the maintenance, the service, the upkeep, all that good stuff on the 2019 Harley Iron 1200, I have found that at a cost of about $14,000 over the course of 3 years. So, I mean, there you have it. Do what you will with it. I saw that number. I actually thought it was going to be more than that when I was just thinking about it in my head. But once I actually went through and calculated all of that, I feel like that actually ended up not being that bad. I mean, you know, you spread that out over the course of 3 years. You know, if you think about modifications, you're not doing all that at once. Like, it took me 3 years to put this thing to where I want it. You know, I'm not spending $5 grand on modifications right out the door. Some people might. But yeah, that's the Harley Sportster specifically with mine. I know a lot of these modifications and things are pretty similar that people do with their Sportsters pretty frequently, so I'm sure these numbers aren't too far off of what some other people do or have spent on their Sportsters or with their Sportsters. You know, obviously you get up into soft tails or baggers and stuff like that. That stuff's getting more expensive, so like I said, if anybody is daring enough or willing to drop that down there and let me know what you may have spent on your bike, or, I mean, ballpark, who knows, we'll see if anybody drops it down there. But then also, if you start to think about that, if you have multiple bikes, then the numbers are even inflated even more when you're trying to maintain, modify multiple bikes. So that's the point. This is an expensive hobby, but who cares? We get enjoyment out of it. Always good times on the bike. It's fun to do all those modifications. It's fun to spend all that money doing shopping online, Amazon, Revzilla, wherever you get your parts. But yeah, that's all I have for now on this one, guys. 14K, around about there on the Harley Sportster for me so far. So let me know what you think of that number. Is that what you thought it would be? Is that anywhere close to what it's been for your bike? Obviously, it varies by bike. If you buy new or used, there's some tips and tricks in there as well, if you've ever found some of those to kind of keep your costs down. But as always, if you like riding around, meeting up, talking bikes, different motorcycle conversations, traveling, exploring, all that good stuff, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. As always, we'll catch you on the next one. It's the Moto Jawn. We'll see you all on down the road. Peace!